a startling revelation, scientists tell us that Alaska is not what we're being told. There's something else out there. Something the media and the government don't want you to know about. There have been alleged theories and hints at the existence of a hidden, uncharted territory nestled within the Alaskan wilderness. A land untouched by modern civilization. From a secret landmass to a hidden paradise, to even remnants of an ancient civilization lurking beneath the icy covering that is Alaska. There are many things we have been distracted from until now. What you're about to discover in the next few minutes is set to send shivers down your spine as much as it will fascinate you. Alaska, often hailed as the last frontier, holds more than just its breathtaking landscapes and chilly climate. Recent revelations by volcano researchers have hinted at a potential game-changer, an Alaskan supervolcano. Researchers were caught off guard when this seemingly dormant giant, the Great Sitkin volcano, erupted, setting off alarms and raising eyebrows across the scientific community. The eruption was no ordinary display. The U.S. Geological Survey issued a red warning alert as volcanic ash threatened to blanket the surrounding areas. In a mere 2 minutes, an explosive event unfolded, forming an awe-inspiring ash cloud that soared 15,000 feet above sea level. The aftermath left scientists stunned. As seismic activity reduced, satellite images revealed the ash cloud drifting eastward. What's more intriguing is Alaska's historical contribution to the earthquaking history. 3/4 of volcanic eruptions in the past 2 centuries originated here. Now, as scientists analyzed the volcanic activity, they stumbled upon a revelation that could reshape our understanding of Alaska's geological history. John Power, a geophysicist at the Alaskan Volcano Observatory, hinted at a colossal surprise. The Aleutian Islands might house not just any volcano, but a potentially huge volcano, a geological giant comparable to Yellowstone's caldera. Diana Roman, co-author of the study, suggested that this suspected volcano could hold the key to explaining Mount Cleveland's periodic explosive episodes. The domino effect could span from disturbing past civilizations to unraveling mysteries throughout history. Michael Polland, although not directly involved in the study, emphasized the global impact of such mighty volcanoes. Understanding the intricacies of the Alaskan supervolcano could not only demystify Mount Cleveland's behavior, but also forecast potential risks for the future. Another unnerving revelation by scientists about this mysterious place comes from beneath the icy depths of Alaskan waters. Imagine exploring the ocean around Alaska's Aleutian Islands and stumbling upon a creature with a gaze that sends shivers down your spine. A group of researchers from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration (NOAA) had such an encounter, spotting an otherworldly creature 2,300 feet underwater. This creature, scientifically known as Tus boreal, is none other than the eerie glass squid. The glass squid lives up to its name, boasting transparency that reveals the contents of its stomach. With demonic red eyes, this underwater inhabitant is a spectacle of nature's bizarre creations. While this particular glass squid may seem like a creature from a nightmare, it's just one member of a group of over 60 known species. Imagine that. The distinguishing feature of this particular specimen lies in its unsettling pair of eyes. But even more intriguing than what is in its ocean depths is an unassuming amphibian. In the frosty embrace of Alaska, where the chill of winter can be unforgiving, a small and unassuming creature exhibits remarkable resilience: the Alaskan wood frog. This pint-sized amphibian, existing in the frigid landscapes, captivates with its extraordinary ability to endure the harshest of conditions. As the Alaskan winter takes temperatures to bone-chilling lows, the wood frog takes center stage with a behavior that seems almost otherworldly. While bears and various animals retreat into the slumber of hibernation, the wood frog takes a different approach. It willingly allows itself to freeze, a feat that is as astonishing as it is unreal. As temperatures fall to a staggering 9 to 18 degrees, the wood frog becomes an icy sculpture, temporarily halting its life processes. During this extreme state of suspended animation, the wood frog's breathing ceases, its heart takes a mysterious pause, and metabolic activities grind to a halt. Remarkably, the creature allows itself to freeze up to 60%, rendering it almost indistinguishable from its icy surroundings. But how does it do this? The secret to the wood frog's survival in this cryogenic or deep frozen state lies in the presence of elements such as glucose and urea within its tissues. These cryoprotectants, as scientists call them, act as nature's antifreeze. They prevent the frog cells from freezing solid, safeguarding them from the typical cellular damage inflicted by sub-zero temperatures. As winter releases its icy grip on the Alaskan wilderness, the wood frog thaws, springing back to life with an almost magical resilience. With the arrival of spring, temperatures rise and the wood frog experiences a miraculous thawing. It reawakens from its frozen slumber, resuming normal bodily functions as if nature has pressed the metabolic play button once again. The Alaskan wood frog's remarkable survival strategy not only captivates the scientific community, but also provides insights into the incredible ways in which nature adapts to extreme conditions. Interestingly, Alaska's skies are no exception to its mysterious revelations. Flying in the skies of the Alaskan atmosphere are over 600 majestic bald eagles, transforming the town into an avian haven. Now, as you can imagine, living close to bald eagles comes with its challenges. During the nesting season, Alaska residents must be vigilant, as a little too close to a bald eagle nest can result in more than just a surprise. From swooping down to sharp talon encounters, the struggle for coexistence unfolds against the backdrop of Alaska's unique cityscape. Contrary to common belief, scientists have revealed that these majestic birds didn't gather in Alaska due to intentional breeding efforts. The town's proximity to Dutch Harbor, one of the world's largest fishing ports, proved irresistible to the eagles. Today, residents, particularly those working at the post office, have their own tales of living with the eagles. Nesting near public establishments, eagles have been known to snatch items, creating an amusing yet challenging dynamic. But guess what? Bald eagles are not the only wonders that grace the Alaskan skies. Imagine standing in the vast darkness of an Alaskan night, and suddenly, the sky comes alive with a breathtaking display. The aurora borealis. It's like a celestial ballet with vivid colors of green, purple, and pink painting the night canvas. While scientists can explain it as particles in the air colliding with the Earth's atmosphere, there's a magical quality to the northern lights that goes beyond what science can fully capture. Now let's talk about the special meaning the aurora borealis holds for the indigenous people of Alaska, like the Inuit and Athabaskan. To them, these dancing lights aren't just a scientific phenomenon. They're something deeply spiritual. Many of them believe that the lights are actually the spirits of their ancestors. It's as if their forefathers and foremothers are sending messages from the afterlife, communicating with the people still living on Earth. This adds a layer of mystery and wonder to an already mesmerizing natural wonder. The night sky becomes a bridge between the tangible world we see and the unseen realm of spirits, connecting the living with their ancestors in a way that goes beyond scientific explanations. The aurora borealis, in this cultural context, becomes a sacred dance, a dance of spirits that captivates not only the observers, but also the hearts and minds of those who hold these ancient beliefs. Alaska's mysteries extend beyond its wildlife and natural wonders, reaching into the very fabric of its communities. In Whittier, life unfolds under a single roof, creating an extraordinary living arrangement. Whittier's unique town structure centers around Begich Towers, a massive complex that houses everything from apartments to essential services like a police station, health clinic, and even a church. In the basement of Begich Towers, residents from all walks of life coexist under one connected roof. Missionaries, bartenders, city council members, and children share the same living space. Whittier's extreme weather conditions, nestled between mountains and water with intense winds and heavy snowfall, make the consolidated living arrangement a practical solution for the town's 244 residents. Access to Whittier is limited to a sea route or a long underground tunnel through the mountains. The tunnel, which closes at night, adds an extra layer of isolation to this already distinctive community. Even the school in Whittier maintains the unique living arrangement. Located in a separate building behind the tower, it can only be reached through an underground tunnel, adding another layer of peculiarity to this Alaskan town. Another incredible scientific discovery in Alaska happened in a place called Me, which is a digging site near Fairbanks and Delta Junction. Scientists followed up on a student who found something interesting in 2013. It was a bunch of small and detailed bone pendants. These tiny objects, upon further investigation, gave us a peek into how people in ancient Alaska liked to make things that looked nice. Scientists are not exactly sure what these bone pendants were used for. They might have been fasteners, like buttons or toggles, or they could have been decorative jewelry. The special patterns carved into the bone show that the people who made them were really good at it, and their skill has lasted through time, kind of like leaving a mark in history. As we dig up and learn about these cool old things, it's like reading a story about the past. This discovery helps us feel connected to the tough, creative, and adaptable native people of Alaska. The bone and stone artifacts from the past are like quiet storytellers, and they invite us to imagine what life was like for people a long time ago. Furthermore, deep within the Tongass National Forest, there's a special lake that adds a touch of magic to the wilderness, Mystery Lake. What makes it intriguing is its habit of mysteriously disappearing from time to time, leaving behind a carpet of wildflowers. Scientists say this happens because of a natural sinkhole that drains the lake, but the enchanting aura of the lake's cyclical vanishing act continues to spark wonder and curiosity. Now, let's dive into the local stories and myths that surround Mystery Lake. People in the area share legends about mystical beings and spirits connected to the lake. According to some tales, the lake might be a gateway to another world, a place where supernatural entities hold some kind of influence. Whether you choose to believe the scientific explanation about the sinkhole, or get swept up in the folklore, Mystery Lake remains a captivating puzzle. Nature seems to be playing a mysterious game, leaving us with questions and enticing us to uncover the secrets it holds. It's a bit like a natural enigma waiting for those who are eager to explore and understand the mysteries hidden within its shores. Speaking of lakes and things disappearing, have you ever heard of the Bermuda Triangle? Hup. It's located in Alaska too. In Alaska, there's a vast and mysterious area known as the Alaskan Bermuda Triangle, stretching from the Yukon River to the frozen Bering Sea. This place has gained a reputation for strange and unexplained disappearances. Planes, ships, and even experienced outdoorsmen have vanished without a trace. It's left people puzzled and curious about what might be happening in this remote region. Scientists think that magnetic anomalies in the area could be causing navigation problems, leading to the mysterious disappearances. However, the allure of the Alaskan Bermuda Triangle remains strong. People tell stories of weird lights, sudden changes in weather, and other unexplained happenings, adding to the mystery of this distant and puzzling stretch of land. Despite the scientific explanations, the tales of strange occurrences contribute to the mystique that surrounds this enigmatic part of Alaska. It's like a real-life puzzle that captures the imagination of those who hear about its mysterious reputation. It's as if the Alaskan Bermuda Triangle is a stage for the unknown, where the curtain of the ordinary is occasionally lifted, revealing glimpses of the extraordinary. The allure of the unexplained draws adventurers, scientists, and curious minds alike, prompting them to explore the secrets hidden within this vast and mysterious stretch of Alaskan wilderness. The stories of strange happenings persist, creating an atmosphere of wonder and fascination that continues to captivate those who dare to ponder the mysteries of this remote and intriguing landscape. Now, as we tread the revelations of the Alaskan seas and water bodies, we cannot skip the haunting story of the ill-fated vessel, the Octavius. Back in 1761, a whaling ship called the Octavius sailed into the Arctic and vanished without a trace. Fast forward to 1775, another ship's crew found the Octavius floating in icy waters. To their shock, the crew of the Octavius looked like they were frozen in time, still wearing their 18th century clothes and sitting at their posts as if time had stopped. The captain, holding a pen like he was writing in the ship's log, seemed frozen in the act. What made it even stranger was that the log revealed the Octavius had been lost for over 20 years, yet the crew looked perfectly preserved, like they had just passed away. This bizarre discovery raised a lot of questions. How did the ship survive for over 2 decades in the freezing Arctic? Why were the crew members so well preserved, defying the normal rules of nature? Some folks talked about curses, thinking maybe supernatural forces punished those who ventured too far into the icy unknown. Local stories added more mystery, saying the Octavius was a cursed ship forever sailing the Arctic seas. Some even claimed to see the ghostly ship drifting through the mist with its frozen crew bound to the unforgiving seas. Despite lots of attempts to explain the mystery, people still speculate about what really happened to the Octavius. Some scientists believe the ship went into an extremely cold pocket of water, preserving it in ice. Others say it's a warning about challenging the Arctic's icy grip. As you think about the sad tale of the Octavius, remember that the waters around Alaska carry stories of strange happenings, ghostly sights, and the timeless tragedy of a ship stuck in the icy clutches of the Arctic. Beyond what is happening in the seas, scientists have also uncovered a devastating and dark twist that could affect the very future of the Alaskan community. In the heart of this infamous town, something serious is happening that connects the fate of communities to the changing climate. The rising temperatures are causing big problems that are placing strong demands on the residents of Alaska to be strong, adapt, and survive. For a long time, Alaskan villages sat on solid, frozen ground called permafrost. But as things get warmer, this ground is starting to melt, and that's bad news for buildings, roads, and the very land these communities depend on. Some villages are sinking into the melting ground, houses tilt, and streets are no longer flat. The once frozen ground is now giving in to the heat, creating a big struggle for survival. Today, coastal communities in Alaska face two big problems: melting permafrost and the sea pushing in. The rising sea levels and less sea ice leave these communities open to powerful waves that eat away at their homes and land. Imagine villages on the edge of the world, with homes and things unsteadily hanging on the edge as the shore retreats. The protective sea ice is gone, and with each storm, homes break down, and people watch as their communities disappear into the unforgiving waters. Despite these tough challenges, Alaskan communities aren't giving up. They're finding ways to deal with the problems. Engineers are designing strong buildings, and communities are trying new ideas to protect their homes from the permafrost in the sea. Scientists have revealed that this tough situation in Alaska should make the world pay attention to climate change. Alaska is like a front row seat to what can happen when the climate changes. It's a reminder that urgent action is needed worldwide. In the ongoing story of Alaska, where mystery and reality meet, the melting villages and disappearing communities tell a bigger story. A story about a changing planet and people trying hard to deal with the consequences. But while that prevails, there's another conversation that has sprung up in the scientific community regarding an age-old phenomenon: the Alaskan hairy man. In the snowy stretches of Alaska, stories about the hairy man, a relative of Bigfoot, have been told for ages. People say they've seen these huge, hairy beings, kind of like giant humans covered in fur, leaving really big footprints. It's a story that's been passed down from one generation to the next. Now, some folks say it's just a made-up tale, like something out of a storybook. But despite the doubters, the hairy man is still a big part of Alaskan stories. Whether it's a made-up creature or a real giant hiding in the wild, the legend adds a bit of mystery to the huge, undiscovered areas that make up the Alaskan wilderness. Scientists, the folks who like to study and figure out things, have their own take on these stories. They often say that creatures like the hairy man are probably just legends or myths, like the tales of old. You know, the kind of stories people tell to make things more interesting, or maybe to explain something they don't quite understand. So while some say the hairy man is just a story, others love the idea that somewhere out there, in the vast and unexplored parts of Alaska, a big, hairy giant might just be wandering around. It truly is a mix of fact and fantasy, making Alaska's wild landscape even more exciting to think about. As a result of the several incredible yet mysterious revelations Alaska has to offer, it leaves much to imagine what else is out there.
SpaceX ultimately will be doing several 100,000 tons to orbit, maybe 1 million tons to orbit. So in this year, if things go well, SpaceX will do 90% of all payload to Earth. And then as Starship really takes off, SpaceX will be doing, at least based on what other companies are currently doing.
Elon Musk unveils his grand vision for SpaceX, a daring plan to revolutionize space travel.
So that's groundbreaking. It really is. This sort of power, SpaceX are claiming that this rocket is twice as powerful as the rocket that took us to the moon, which was the Saturn V created by NASA.
At this point, knock on wood, SpaceX is quite prosperous. SpaceX did about 80% of all payload to orbit last year of Earth. China did about 12%, and the rest of the world did 8%.
With SpaceX dominating Earth's orbit, Elon Musk sets his sights on even greater feats, including missions to Mars.
Now, for the first time, SpaceX has carried out an on-the-ground test of its huge, super heavy boosters. It brings the company's Starship rocket system one step closer to the Moon and Mars. A live stream of the test appeared to show the engines firing, huge clouds of smoke pouring across the launch site. The company's owner, Elon Musk, tweeted that 31 of the Super Heavy booster's 33 rocket engines fired for about 10 seconds, enough engines, he said, to reach orbit.
So basically, Mars has to be completely self-sufficient in order to pass the Fermi Great Filter. The particular Great Filter I'm talking about is if something calamitous happens to one planet, is humanity gone or not?
Neve Shaw, a scientist, engineer and writer, explained what the ground test means for future space travel.
The rocket itself will launch eventually, we reckon in the next month or so, but that just can't happen. There has to be a number of tests, and testing the engines is an important part of it.
I mean, to be clear, at the start of SpaceX, I gave us a less than 10% chance of success. I thought we'd probably... But, you know, I think if something's important enough, it's worth doing, even if you think it's going to fail. And we almost did fail. The first 3 launches of our small rocket failed. Only the 4th one launched, succeeded. And if that 4th one had failed, we would be... So it's close.
SpaceX conducts groundbreaking tests of its super heavy boosters, a crucial step towards realizing Musk's ambitious goals.
And this rocket is composed of 2 parts. The Starship is what it's called. It's composed of kind of 2 parts or 2 stages. The lower stage is the Super Heavy, and that is the one that has the majority of like the thrust and the power that will get the upper part, the Starship, into orbit or onwards to the Moon and Mars. So the lower part, the Super Heavy, has 33 engines at its base, and they're Raptor engines which have been designed specifically by SpaceX. Never before until today did we see all of those engines firing at the same time. Now, 2 didn't. One failed to start, another one just stopped itself. But even, as you said, as Elon Musk tweeted earlier, even having 31 will definitely get to the Moon.
The follow-up to the shuttle, to the Saturn V was the Space Shuttle. Space Shuttle could only go to low Earth orbit. But the aspiration was to make it reusable. But they unfortunately did not succeed in that goal. The Space Shuttle was so difficult to refurb that it ended up costing as much as the Saturn V. And then the primary structure of the Space Shuttle orbiter system, that big orange tank, it's actually the primary airframe, because it takes the load from the orbiter, the sort of airplane-looking thing, and the side boosters. So you lose that every time. The side boosters land in the ocean, and they're solid rocket boosters, so that they have to get you back to the factory to get solid propellant loaded in. Cut a long story short, the cost per flight of the shuttle ended up being roughly the same as a Saturn V expendable. But the shuttle had about a quarter of the payload to orbit and could not reach the Moon.
And also NASA's latest rocket, the Space Launch System, which successfully took the Artemis and the Orion capsule to orbit the Moon and returned there in December. So this is a mighty rocket. And the upper part of it is Starship. This will have the capacity to bring up to 100 people at some stage in the future to the Moon and onwards to Mars or cargo. So it's very big, and it has the capacity to carry much, much, much bigger cargo than we've ever seen before.
Musk emphasizes the necessity of Martian self-sufficiency, a critical milestone in humanity's quest to surpass the Fermi Great Filter.
So I think we may have achieved consciousness, or consciousness that's capable of developing technology just in time. I find it remarkable that we are at this point in history where we are able, for the first time, to go beyond Earth, to send people. We sent people to the Moon in the early 70s, but have since not gone back. I think it would be wise to not assume that it'll be open for a long time.
So,
and act now to make life multiplanetary.
Against daunting odds, SpaceX prepares to launch its revolutionary rocket, defying skeptics and pushing the boundaries of possibility.
Let's talk about what they learned from it, because we've seen a tweet from Bill Nelson, who is the administrator at NASA, and he seems quite pleased with what they were doing, because as we say, we have to put this into some perspective. There were some people who didn't even think it would clear the platform.
Yeah, and Elon Musk was pretty worried about that too. They've got another one in the shed, literally in the shed, behind the launch complex here, and a few others as well that are sort of nearing completion.
Musk reflects on SpaceX's humble beginnings, recalling the initial doubts and the audacity to pursue greatness against all odds.
We're hoping to have the first humans on the moon in less than 5 years. Mars, maybe a little longer than 5 years. I'd be surprised if we don't have humans on Mars within 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we're going to aim to have a lot of humans and build a city on Mars and a base on the moon. A lot of resources. Now, I should say, in order to pass the Fermi Great Filter of being a multi-planet species, the second planet has to be self-sustaining. So that the acid test being that if the resupply ships from Earth stop coming for any reason whatsoever, could be mundane or serious, will Mars out or not?
The intricacies of rocket engineering are laid bare as SpaceX engineers grapple with the challenges of creating reusable launch vehicles.
I mean, I was looking at pictures afterwards of the launch complex itself, the pad. Now, normally rockets, big rockets, they go with what's called a deluge system. So you've probably seen this. As they're about to launch, they flood the launch pad with water to sort of dampen the vibrations, the acoustic shock, all the rest of it.
So noble ideas at the start, but ultimately it was not a good design. So, and then the shuttle retired, obviously, and then we had nothing. That curve that's not a good curve, going from the moon to low Earth orbit to nothing. That does not extrapolate to being a multi-planet species. You know, things that make people excited to get up in the morning and say, yes, humanity is going to do some amazing thing in space.
Sorry, I just wanted to say, because we are showing on our website, we have a lovely diagram of the various rockets through history and just how big Starship and this heavy rocket are compared to, I mean, Saturn V is the next one down, and then SLS Block 1. So, and I mean, just looking at that compared to what seems tiny now, Space Shuttle, this is a giant, isn't it?
It's a giant, and it's interesting. You know, I was in the room in 2016 when Elon Musk walked on stage and rolled out his grand design at the Astronautical Conference about getting to Mars. And even then, he was talking about this sort of level of engineering. And he came out and he was talking about these engines. And at the time, nobody really kind of believed that we could possibly conceive about going to Mars. It was sort of pie in the sky. But he's sort of broken it down into achievable chunks. And we hope, as you said already, to see a test orbit or an orbital test launch in the coming weeks. And today was a really important part of that.
My religion, for lack of a better word, is one of curiosity, where we want to expand the scope and scale of consciousness on Earth and beyond Earth, and ultimately to other star systems. And in order to do that, we need to increase the number of conscious beings, and we need to advance technology such that we can have a self-sustaining city on Mars, ultimately populate the whole solar system, and then go beyond our solar system to other star systems. And therefore, we need more humans. Pretty simple.
NASA's latest achievements serve as a testament to human ingenuity, inspiring Musk and SpaceX to reach even greater heights.
But this system, they haven't got one there yet. They were going to put one in, they haven't quite done it. And there's a lot of damage actually to the concrete surfaces around this pad, which they're going to have to repair. They're going to have to do something. And you know, this is 70 meganewtons. I think, I did the calculation, didn't I? It's 100 Concorde airliners on the runway together at Heathrow, all trying to take off at the same time. It's a tremendous amount of power and heat going into the concrete. And any water in that concrete is going to be instantly superheated, and the concrete will just go bang. It'll be chucked out in all directions. And that does appear to have happened today. So they'll have to address that. But yeah, NASA will be quite pleased, I think. They're seeing Musk, make progress. They'll want to see by the end of the year that he's flown at least another 2 of these, I think, and that he does actually make orbit.
The evidence suggests that it is most likely that Mars had liquid water. Well, just over time, the solar system cooled. So Earth used to be much hot. In the very early Earth was like molten rock. So really almost nothing could survive in the beginning. We were just a wall of lava. We're still mostly a wall of lava. We're like creme brulee. Like there's a thin crust, and it's mushy rock very hot mushy rock underneath. And technically that rock is in a semi-solid state, but as soon as it gets to a low pressure, like pops out of the ocean, you have a volcano, obviously, with lava.
Yeah.
So it's at surface ambient pressure, we're basically covered in liquid rock.
Are you aware?
We're a thin crust on liquid rock.
As humanity stands on the cusp of interplanetary travel, Musk envisions a future where mankind ventures beyond Earth's bounds.
What's really mind-boggling is that number should increase by 50% this year. So I guess on the order of like 90% of all mass to orbit, not counting Starship. So as we start launching Starship is like roughly 100 tons to orbit with every flight. There's a path to getting Starship to do over 200 tons with full reusability. So 200 tons to useful orbit with full reusability. And it's really an incredible amount. 1,200 tons of useful load to orbit last year. That's just astounding. So I think that really deserves a round of applause. Like wow, I mean, that's the most mind-blowing. And the rate of increase is just astonishing. Now, these numbers will actually look very small in the future. In order to build a city on Mars, we'll need to be kind of in the million-ton to orbit range. So maybe a little higher, ideally a little higher, but it's sort of, if you just try to get things to the right order of magnitude, like not trying to get to an exact number, but try to get the order of magnitude right. I think it's on the order. It's roughly 1 million tons to Earth orbit. That'll get you roughly 200,000 tons to the surface of Mars. So roughly, approximately 20% of whatever you get to Earth orbit, you can get to the surface of Mars. And figure like maybe we need at least 1 million tons of useful load to the surface of Mars for it to become self-sustaining.
Amidst the excitement and anticipation, Musk remains vigilant, mindful of the challenges that lie ahead on the path to space exploration.
Well, at first, you would have to have a life support system because Mars has a low-density atmosphere, only about 1% the density of Earth, and it's primarily CO2. Now, over time, you can terraform Mars. Terraform means make it like Earth, essentially. And if you warm Mars up, you will. There's a bunch of frozen CO2 that will evaporate, densify the atmosphere, and you'd actually want kind of global warming on Mars, because Mars is about 50% further away from the sun than the Earth. So it gets about less than half the solar energy that Earth does.